Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 6 Part 10 based on novel. So let's start. The man who had suddenly appeared was wearing a glaring red robe. There seemed to be a faint bloody scent spreading from him, informing others that the person before them was definitely no saint despite the friendly smile on his face. When the green-clothed man and the others by the side saw this smiling red-robed man, their expressions suddenly changed as they cried out in alarm, "Violent Wolf Tienhen! Violent Wolf Tienhen!" Lindong's lips tightened a little when he heard this form of address. A grave expression flashed across his eyes. There were four great overlords of this northwestern region. Demon Spear Liu Bai, Mountain Shattering Axe Jiang Shan, Beast Fist Mu Shou and Violent Wolf Tienhen. To think that the one who had appeared was actually one of the four overlords of the northwestern region, Violent Wolf Tienhen, who was ranked alongside Liu Bai. Ha ha, so it is actually someone from the Desert North Empire. The red-robed man glanced at the green-clothed man and replied with a friendly smile. However, this smile contained some chilly aura when it landed in the eyes of the green-clothed man and the others. Everyone knew that this Tienhen might appear friendly on the surface, but deep down, he was an extremely brutal and ruthless man. Otherwise, he would not end up with the name Violent Wolf. You must be that Lindong, right? It is rumored that even that fellow Liu Bai thinks highly of you. Tienhen merely glanced at the green-clothed man. After which, he turned his eyes towards Lindong and smilingly said, "I have met him once and it cannot be said that I am held in high regard by him." Lindong's voice was calm. He did not appear as terrified as the green-clothed man and the others. This Tienhen's aura was indeed extremely powerful, and it was likely that he possessed the ability to attempt the third Nirvana tribulation. He was many times stronger than an ordinary 2-yuan Nirvana stage expert. However, his level was insufficient for Lindong to feel fearful. Tienhen's eyes narrowed in the face of this calm attitude of Lindong. His large hand curled. Anyone who knew him understood that he was a little displeased with Lindong's attitude. Swoosh swoosh. An increasing number of experts were attracted to this pill room after Tienhen showed himself. Within a short couple of minutes, numerous figures landed one after another and hurried into the pill room. After which, all of they also gathered towards this middle area where everyone was. That is, Samsara pill. Those who had arrived at this place saw the black-white medicinal pills suspended over the stone pillar immediately after they arrived. Soon after, numerous exclamations resounded in a wave-like fashion. Lindong's brows were involuntarily knitted together as he looked at the many greedy eyes that suddenly shot from all around him. Seems like he was unable to obtain the Samsara pill before it caused a commotion. That is Violent Wolf Tienhen. I didn't expect him to be here as well. Those eyes, which had become boiling hot because of the Samsara pill, suddenly turned towards the red-robed man in front of them. Immediately, quite a number of their expressions changed. Clearly, the reputation of this Violent Wolf Tienhen was quite strong. Moreover, all of them also clearly understood Tienhen's character. He was a ruthless person. It was rumored that only some time ago, a 2-yuan Nirvana stage expert was viciously killed by him in an exchange. Hence, there were no one who dared to offend this fiend. I am quite fond of this Samsara pill. I believe that everyone here will help me to fulfill my wish of obtaining it, right? Tienhen ignored the surrounding gazes. He stared at the Samsara pill before immediately speaking with a smile. Although he wore a smile on his face and his tone was an inquiring one, everyone in this pill room was completely silent as they sensed the surging violence under Tienhen's smile. Green and white mixed on the faces of the green-clothed man and the others. Their eyes flickered and immediately spoke in a sinister manner. The first person who arrived is Lindong. Although his words did not contain much meaning, it caused Tienhen's smilingly eyes to look towards Lindong. He smilingly inquired, "Brother Lindong will not mind, will you?" Lindong glanced indifferently at the green-clothed man and the others. Finally, he lowered his eyes and replied, "I need this Samsara pill. Anyone who wished to obtain it should rely on their own strength." What a joke. Lindong had undergone so much in order to obtain this Samsara pill. Although this Tienhen had a powerful reputation, he had overestimated his so-called reputation, if he thought that was enough to force Lindong to back off. The surrounding people were startled at these words of Lindong, which did not intend to give in. Immediately, a pitiful expression flashed across their eyes. They had heard about the news of Lindong having defeated Shikuan. However, Tienhen was not someone that Shikuan could compare with. This brutal and ruthless fellow had even killed 2 Yuan Nirvana stage experts. A cold smile flashed across the green-clothed man when he saw this. Lindong actually dared to rebuke him in front of so many people. With the latter's character, it was likely that he would not forgive Lindong. Numerous gazes gathered towards the red-robed figure. The latter's face still wore a smile. However, there was a faint fierceness that flashed across it. I do not like others snatching my things. Tienhen's hand slowly tightened. Immediately, he walked forward and faintly said, "Receive one blow from me and I will give you the right to fight with me for the samsara pill." Lindong grinned. This Tienhen had indeed released his domineering aura. However, from the way Lindong saw it, this domineering aura was a little foolish. Did he really think that obtaining the title as one of the 4 great overlord of the northwestern region was sufficient to allow him to become extremely arrogant in this place? There are countless number of experts in this ancient battlefield and there were many hidden experts lurking around. It was clearly not his turn to display this arrogance. Just attack. Gutsy. Tienhen parted his mouth and grinned. The dense white teeth that he revealed contained a dense chillness. Clamor. The surrounding people emitted a shuttling sound as they swiftly withdrew after seeing the two facing each other maliciously. However, they felt a tinge of regret when they looked at Lindong. Although Tienhen's overbearing arrogance was indeed dislikable, it was based off his strength. The number of people who could beat him in this northwestern region could be counted with one's fingers. Clearly, Lindong was not one of them. Tienhen stared at Lindong. The smile on his face withdrew a little. Meanwhile, a haughty aura slowly spread apart from within his body. Tienhen at this moment seemed to match with the name Violent Wolf. Boom! Tienhen's feet stomped onto the ground. At this moment, he was just like a woken fierce beast. A blood redness climbed up both of his eyes. In the next instant, his entire body directly transformed into a red glow and rushed out. There was even an afterimage remaining on his original spot. Lindong, I have never held back when fighting with anyone, regardless of strength. If you cannot handle this attack, then, die. Tienhen's figure had appeared in the midair in front of Lindong within an instant. Surging Yuan power spat out. After which, it agglomerated on his palm at a shocking speed. Thousand Wolves' army breaking fist. A low and deep densely cold cry was emitted from Tienhen's throat. The surging Yuan power transformed into tens of thousands of dashing wolf figures. All of them contained a merciless aura as they ruthlessly encircled Lindong. Tienhen's attack was indeed as completely merciless as he had described. This fist was something that even an ordinary 2 Yuan Nirvana stage had difficulty receiving. If Lindong's genuine strength was truly reflected on his surface, this fist would mostly likely be able to end his life. The expressions of those surrounding experts changed slightly in the face of this vicious attack from Tienhen. The name Violent Wolf was indeed fitting. It was likely that this fellow had the most fearsome reputation amongst the 4 great overlords. Tens of thousands of wolves dashed forward and were swiftly magnified in Lindong's eyes. A serious expression also surged up his face. Yuan power, mental energy and devouring power surged out from within his body. Finally, they were swiftly poured into that ancient universe formation. Bang bang! A merged force that was greyish-black in color spat out from within Lindong's body. There was a strange ripple being vaguely emitted at the same time. Great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger. The merged force swiftly gathered. Within the blink of an eye, it transformed into an ancient large finger. However, it not bright in color. Instead, it was greyish-black. At a glance, it was permeated in mystery. This was the first time that Lindong had used this force that was merged from 3 types of energy to mix with a martial arts ever since he gained control of such an energy. This usage did indeed greatly exhaust Lindong's yuan power, mental energy, and the devouring power. However, its might was something that did not even need to be mentioned. Bang! The greyish-black enormous finger wrapped around Lindong's body. It carried a frightening momentum that could crumble the world as it violently collided with the tens of thousands of wolves without hesitation. The entire pill room trembled intensely at this moment. Those surrounding experts also swiftly pulled back. A shocked expression flashed in the eyes of the green-clothed man's group. In fact, Lindong's attack even caused them to feel a sense of danger. It was likely that if they were the ones facing such an attack, they would likely wound up in a miserable state. The wild and violent energy swept apart like a storm in the midair. Some of the stone pillars within the pill room were blasted apart when struck by the energy. Kai? Two figures also shot out from the aftermath of the explosion. Finally, they landed on the ground and took a couple of swift steps back. Only then did they stabilize their bodies. Numerous eyes were shot over almost at that very instant. The clothes of the two people who had appeared were somewhat tattered. The yuan power over them fluctuated intensely. From the looks of it, they appeared to have actually ended up in a draw. That Lindong, he actually received Tienhen's attack. Some people faced each other. Their eyes were filled with a stunned expression. Clearly, their hearts were quite shaken because of this result. Everyone knew that this Tienhen had never held back regardless of his opponent's strength in any fight. He had only used one attack earlier, but the strength of it was sufficient to severely injure a 2-yuan Nirvana stage expert. Nonetheless, it was still blocked by Lindong. His genuine strength was truly hidden and deep. The eyes of the green-clothed man's group had shrunk because of this. They looked at Lindong's calm face and vaguely understood why the latter was not the least bit courteous to them. Lindong's actual fighting strength had already surpassed theirs. There are many powerful people in this ancient battlefield. If one was too arrogant, one would eventually strike a hard metal plate. Lindong looked at Tienhen, whose expression was a little dense. His voice was calm. After which, he turned around and directly rushed towards the samsara pill above. After which, his hand grabbed onto it. Little Martin already had a method to resolve the ring of life and death. Lindong's body rushed out in front of the eyes of many people while his hands reached for the samsara pill. Due to the influence from the earlier big battle with Tienhen, no one actually dared to intervene and stopped him at that moment. Instead, numerous figures let out a swish sound as they turned towards Tienhen. Right now, the smile on Tienhen's face had finally completely disappeared. His eyes contained a faint crimson color. They appeared a little distorted and looked exceptionally frightening. Metal plate? Ignorant fool. You have overestimated yourself. A densely cold bone-chilling voice was finally emitted from Tienhen's mouth in a slow manner. His voice was filled with a sinister aura that could not be hidden. The hearts of everyone in the pill room leaped when they heard this voice. Tienhen seemed to be showing signs of exploding. Do you really think that just because Liu Bai thinks highly of you, you can treat yourself as some great person? Today, I will let you see just how hard you, this metal plate, can be. Boom! Tienhen's voice suddenly sounded. At the same time, his body also rushed out from the ground. Surging yuan power churned around his body as waves after waves of powerful pressure swept apart, causing the breathing of the people around to turn ragged. Bang! Tienhen was in the midair, as he threw a punch forward. A sharp fist wind containing a piercing cold-killing intent, ruthlessly struck towards Lindong, who was grabbing towards the samsara pill. Lindong's eyes turned cold as he sensed the wind that once again come attacking him from behind. However, just as he was about to turn around and retaliate, a strong figure appeared behind him. That figure was Little Flame. Big brother, just focus on obtaining the samsara pill. Leave this person to me. The black-colored metal rod in Little Flame's hand suddenly shook. Those scales on it sprang apart, emitting a densely cold glow. After which, it was suddenly shot out and ruthlessly collided with the sharp yuan power wind. Boom! A low and deep blast was emitted from the point of contact. After which, a wild and fierce wind swept apart. A black glow surged and appeared when it was about to reach Little Flame, completely blocking this powerful wind. Lindong was momentarily stunned when he saw Little Flame intervene. Immediately, he gave a nod. Although Little Flame's strength was also that of a 1 Yuan Nirvana stage, his original form was of the Heavenly Devil Tiger tribe. Hence, his physical body was much stronger than Lindong. Moreover, he also possessed quite a number of skills. Even if Tienhen wanted to finish him off, it would be no simple task. Fool who do not know what is good for you. With your skill, you actually dare to fight me. Tienhen could not help but let out a furious laughter when he saw Little Flame intervening. He had heard a little of Lindong's reputation, therefore, he did not feel that it was unbelievable for Lindong to be able to receive his attack earlier. However, did this fellow really think that his subordinate also had the qualification to fight with him? Little Flame was expressionless. His eyes stared at Tienhen as waves of energy swam around the surface of his body. There was a vague, seemingly low and deep tiger roar that was being emitted from his moving muscles. The other people within the pill room was also startled at this scene. They were aware of Lindong's name but were unaware of the background of this strong giant-like big fellow, who was standing behind the former. Moreover, from the looks of it, the latter was only just at the 1 Yuan Nirvana stage. Could it be that he also has hidden abilities just like Lindong? Get lost! At this moment, Tienhen no longer had even the slightest demeanor from when he had just appeared. The fierce and brutal expression on his face caused one to feel a chill within one's heart just by looking at it. If it was an ordinary person, it was likely that he would have directly been suppressed by this fierceness of Tienhen. Unfortunately, the one whom he was facing at this moment was someone who possessed a human form, but had a heart which was even fiercer and more brutal than him. Clamor! Hence, when Tienhen charged forward with a savage expression, Little Flame did not step back. Instead, the surging black-colored energy swept apart, wrapping the metal rod in his hand. After which, the metal rod contained all the strength from his body, as he mercilessly smashed it at Tienhen. Being a demonic beast, Little Flame had a natural-born advantage when it came to his physical strength. Now that he had used his full force, the torn wind emitted an ear-piercing sound. Even Tienhen's eyes narrowed slightly. After which, surging Yuan power surged out. His body trembled before a bright golden glow surged out from within him, directly forming a substance-like golden glow barrier in front of him in the process. Clang! The metal rod smashed heavily onto the golden glow barrier and it immediately created a clear metallic sound. Ripples swiftly vibrated. However, it ultimately did not shatter. Your strength is quite good. However, you cannot break my golden body barrier. The golden glow vibrated as a ferocious smile flashed over the face of Tienhen within it. His fist penetrated through the light barrier as the Yuan power on it formed the shape of a wolf's head. After which, it contained a rolling ripple that smashed towards Little Flame's chest. Tiger Demon Armor. Black glow flashed over Little Flame's body. Finally, it directly transformed into a black-colored tiger pattern light armor. Some dim luster was flickering on the armor, which appeared exceptionally hard. Boom! Tienhen's fist heavily landed on the tiger pattern light armor. Something similar to a tiger roar was emitted from the armor as a mysterious strength surged out. This strength actually forcefully suppressed Tienhen's strength. Rumble! A fierce expression also suddenly flashed past Little Flame's eyes after directly and forcefully receiving a blow from Tienhen. The metal rod suddenly danced, transforming into numerous rod after images that covered Tienhen from all directions. Tienhen's face was filled with an evil aura as he looked at Little Flame's attack. The surging Yuan power formed the shape of a wolf, as it whizzed out and collided violently with the rod shadows that permeated the sky. Boom! Everyone in the pill room looked at the fiery hot battle in the midair. A rich shocked expression filled their eyes. Clearly, they did not expect that the giant person who was standing behind Lindong like an attendant was actually this strong. While Little Flame and Tienhen were engaged in an intense battle behind him, Lindong's hand was already half a foot away from the samsara pill. However, his hand did not show signs of withering. This was because a purple-black colored energy was wrapped around it. Although Lindong had managed to block the withering, his hand seemed to be only able to use this extremely slow speed to approach the samsara pill a bit at a time. It was obvious that Lindong could not be distracted at this moment. All he could do was to leave Little Flame to handle Tienhen. Clang clang. The rod shadow rushed past with a lightning-like speed and ruthlessly landed on the golden body barrier around Tienhen. Clear metallic-like sound erupted in the process. The blows that were exchanged between the two were all extremely vicious and they were merciless in their attacks. However, both of them did possess something to protect their bodies. Hence, despite the battle appearing fierce and ruthless, there were no overly obviously injuries appearing on their bodies. This scene clearly caused the two people involved to be extremely displeased. Tienhen was one of the 4 overlords of this northwestern region. His reputation was extremely great. He was already extremely displeased that Lindong had successfully received an attack by him today. Now that Little Flame had appeared, his displeasure had clearly reached its limit. If news of this matter were to spread, it would be quite a severe blow to his reputation. He did not want some stalemate. Instead, he wanted a genuine victory. Similarly, this manner of thought had also unexpectedly appeared in Little Flame's heart despite the fact that he was in a disadvantageous situation. Being a demonic beast which possessed the bloodline of the heavenly devil tiger tribe, his desire to win was also at an incomparable level. Boom! The metal rod in Little Flame's hand suddenly flew out of his hands, before a low and deep tiger roar was suddenly emitted from within his mouth. The roar was filled with a strange pressure. Black-colored energy surged out from within Little Flame's body like floodwaters. In the next instant, it vaguely formed a black-colored large tiger shape behind it. Heaven Devil God Transformation, Tiger Roar Transformation. Little Flame's tiger leg stepped forward. Both of his hands curled into a claw shape. After which, they formed numerous strange seals in a lightning-like manner. Finally, his hands pressed together before he widened his mouth like a furious tiger and roared at the sky. Roar? The black-colored large tiger behind him roared towards the sky before transforming into a black glow that gathered on Little Flame's tiger claw. Finally, the claw was accompanied by a terrifying ripple as it turned into a roaring large black-colored tiger with dancing claws as it suddenly wheezed out. Boom boom. The air let out a loud explosion as the large black-colored tiger rushed past. The speed of the black light was extremely fast. In an instant, it tore through the air and ruthlessly smashed onto the incomparably firm golden body barrier around Tienhen in front of the many stunned gazes. Bang! A shockingly wild and violent ripple spread apart. After which, a slight cracking sound appeared in front of Tienhen's shrunk eyes. Crack crack! Cracked lines swiftly spread out. In the blink of an eye, the hard golden body barrier was covered with cracked lines. Finally, it emitted a boom sound and burst apart in front of the many shaken eyes. At the same time, Lindong's hand also penetrated through the ring of life and death. He grabbed the black-white mysterious medicinal pill that seemed to possess a merger of the yin and yang strength. An incomparable wild and violent wind swept over the pill room like a storm. Several cracked lines even appeared on the ground of the pill room at this moment. The surrounding experts were also shaken as they hurriedly withdrew. While they were stepping back, their numerous gazes were also staring intently at the point where the two figures had made contact. A black shadow suddenly shot out from within the wild and violent wind in front of their eyes. His legs moved a couple of times on the ground in a somewhat miserable manner, before he finally managed to stabilize his body. All the eyes were thrown towards the figure that had been shot out almost immediately. After which, a low sound of cold air being inhaled sounded within the pill room. This was because the one who ended up being shot out in a miserable fashion was actually Tienhen. Tienhen's golden body barrier was actually broken. Everyone was a little stunned when they saw Tienhen's body. The golden body barrier that originally existed over it had actually been broken. Even his clothes looked a little tattered. At a glance, he appeared quite miserable looking. While everyone was still in a state of shock, a strong figure slowly walked out with mountain-heavy footsteps from within the dust-permeated area. A black glow covered Little Flame's body as waves after waves of strange tiger roar was repeatedly emitted from within his body. The metal rod on his hand had a vaguely visible black-colored light tiger over it that was filled with fierceness and sharpness. Little Flame blinked his eyes, that were filled with a fierceness, and stared intently at the green-faced Tienhen. The blood within his body was also boiling at this moment. That heated desire to fight caused one's heart to be gripped in fear. Again. The metal rod in his hand cut through the air, carrying a sinister aura as it pointed towards Tienhen some distance away. Little Flame's low and deep voice had a fiery hot fighting intent that was not hidden. "You are seeking death." Tienhen was so infuriated by Little Flame's action that he ended up laughing. However, the original belittle expression within his eyes had already become pale. A solemnness replaced it. After the earlier exchange, he was aware that Little Flame was just as troublesome to deal with as Lindong. Just what is the background of these two fellows? They are clearly Nirvana stage experts, but their fighting strengths are this shocking. Tienhen quietly gritted his teeth. His heart felt a little surprise. Although he did not use all of his skills in the earlier exchange, he also understood that Little Flame in front of him should also have some trump cards remaining. Moreover, the latter's abnormal strength was something that caused him to also feel a slight fear within his heart. While Tienhen's heart was feeling shocked at Little Flame's strength, some sound of footsteps were emitted from behind the latter. After which, Tienhen's eyes shrunk as he saw Lindong slowly walking over with a smile on his face. Immediately, his eyes turned towards the stone pillar. All he saw was that the samsara pill on it had already disappeared. How is that possible? The green-clothed man and the others were also greatly shocked. Earlier the green-clothed man had personally experienced the strange energy around the samsara pill. Even his 2 Nirvana stage strength was unable to block it. How could Lindong retrieve it so smoothly? You have actually broke through the ring of life and death. Tienhen's voice was also filled with disbelief. From the looks of his appearance, it seemed that he was actually also aware of the existence of the ring of life and death. I was merely lucky. Lindong smiled and casually mentioned. However, this caused Tienhen's fury to burn. Big brother, have you succeeded? Little Flame inquired with some joy. The fierceness in Little Flame's eyes was reduced when he saw Lindong. Yes. Lindong nodded. His eyes glanced at Little Flame in a somewhat strange manner. Originally, he thought that it was quite good if Little Flame could block Tienhen. However, he did not expect that Little Flame had actually directly shattered Tienhen's golden body barrier. Even Lindong himself had underestimated the fighting strength of Little Flame. The expressions in the eyes of the surrounding people became a little complicated when they heard that Lindong had obtained the samsara pill. A few of them contemplated a malicious thought in their mind, but most of them were wary of those two. Lindong and Little Flame might not beat them in numbers, but the two of them were clearly extraordinary individuals. Both of them were existences that could fight with someone like Tienhen. If the two of them were to join forces, it was likely that even someone as strong as Tienhen would be forced to retreat. Green and white interchanged over Tienhen's face at this moment. Clearly, his heart was quite furious. With his reputation in this northwestern region, there was seldom any occurrence that he had ended up losing out. This time around, however, he had clearly suffered a great loss in Lindong's hand. It is likely not going to be as easy as you think if you wish to take the samsara pill. Tienhen, whose fury had surged in his heart, was finally unable to endure any longer and spoke in a furious voice. All right, in that case, allow us brothers to experience the might of the fierce wolf. Lindong smiled slightly and said. You? Tienhen was stunned. His expression was a little purplish. He was not afraid of Lindong or Little Flame alone. However, if the two of them were to join forces, even he did not possess the confidence to beat them. Originally, he wanted to use his words to provoke Lindong to exchange blows with him alone, but Lindong's words had directly sent his words back into him. Clearly, if they were to fight, Lindong would not fight him one-on-one. Little Flame held the metal rod and stood behind Lindong. His eyes looked down at Tienhen from a higher position. That mighty body of his possessed a deterrence effect. In the face of Lindong's half-smiling appearance and Little Flame's eyes that were filled with fighting intent, Tienhen's reasoning finally suppressed his fury. His expression was green as he suddenly turned around. Lindong, don't be too pleased. This matter is not finished. After tossing these words that were filled with killing intent, Tienhen finally turned his body and left in an unwilling manner. His body flashed a couple of times before exiting the pill room and disappearing. Everyone watched Tienhen leaving in a somewhat ashen manner and were immediately completely silent. They smacked their mouths together and their eyes looked at Lindong and Little Flame with fear. Clearly, they did not expect that even someone like Tienhen was unable to gain any advantage in the hands of this person from a low-rank empire. This person was indeed a vicious character. No wonder he was able to swiftly build a reputation for himself. Lindong was completely unconcerned about these surrounding gazes. He swept his gaze around and glanced at the green-clothed man's group. The latter's entire body quivered when he saw Lindong's eyes looking over. Immediately, they hurriedly turned around and left in a miserable manner. That appearance was as though they were extremely afraid that Lindong would find trouble with them. Having witnessed Lindong's and Little Flame's fighting ability earlier, they no longer had the arrogance that they had at the start. Let's go. Lindong casually glanced at the green-clothed man's group leaving in a miserable fashion. He did not have any intention of giving chase and settling the scores with them. Instead, he waved his hand towards Little Flame and said, now that he had obtained the Samsara pill, Little Martin's problem was considered to be completely resolved. Next would likely be the final main event, the inheritance of the 4 great mysterious sects. If Lindong was able to obtain one of them, he could be considered to have gained a bountiful reward from this trip to the ancient treasure trove. Lindong did not hesitate much after saying those words. He directly leaped out of the pill room. The crowd automatically parted and formed a path wherever he passed. No one actually dared to obstruct him. Lindong and Little Flame directly left the place in front of many complicated eyes. He appeared a little free and easy, causing some people to let out a quiet sigh. Perhaps after leaving this ancient treasure trove, 2 more people would be added to the ranks of the 4 great overlords of the northwestern region. Currently the pill ground had already attracted quite a number of people. All the tightly shut pill rooms had also been opened. The nirvana pills within them had been completely snatched away. That originally quiet pill grounds currently appeared like a village that had been patronized by robbers. It was a complete mess. Lindong and Little Flame were somewhat speechless as they looked at the many greedy figures within the pill grounds after having left the pill room. It was likely that he no longer had any hope of obtaining some nirvana pills. They immediately decided not to remain in this place any longer. Instead, they directly left this pill grounds and rushed towards the deepest part of this island. Little Martin, we have already obtained the Samsara pill. When do you intend to use it? Lindong rushed through the midair, while inquiring in his heart. We should do it after this matter is over. It is not easy to recover a physical body. Little Martin's voice quickly sounded. Lindong could hear the excitement and the impatience that was difficult to hide from within the voice. All right. Lindong smiled and nodded. His heart also let out a sigh as though a giant weight has been lifted from his heart. He had finally resolved Little Martin's problem. Lindong. Lindong was surprised. Thank you. Little Martin's voice was faint. However, it was a rare one that was unaccompanied by laughter. There was a seriousness and sincerity within it that he had never seen before. I am really not used to you being this courteous. Aren't you some ultimate expert? I am making an investment. Lindong smiled and shook his head. Relax, once Grandpa Martin regains my strength, I will definitely not allow anyone to bully you. Little Martin laughed out loud. Lindong also grinned. His eyes turned towards the deep regions of the island. He could sense a strange ripple from that spot. It was likely that the place should be the remains of the 4 great mysterious sects. I am really looking forward to it. Lindong muttered to himself. He really wanted to know just how powerful the inheritance of the 4 great mysterious sects were, given that they were the ones in charge of this Tiengang alliance. Lindong's mind suddenly became focused just when this anticipation had surged into Lindong's heart. His eyes suddenly shot towards his front. A figure was standing straight on an enormous tree at that spot. That handsome face as well as the dark cold eyes were extremely familiar looking. Tienhen. The corner of Lindong's mouth was slowly lifted into an icy cold arc when he saw this face. Seems like we finally meet again. This video